Welcome, everybody. I'm Kyle Hines, and I'll be hosting the Players Podcast, a GTM Family Production in partnership with the EuroLeague Players Association. I will be having in-depth conversations with current and former EuroLeague players about important topics that many athletes face on and off the basketball court. Stay tuned for more episodes. Today, we have a real special guest, my teammate, one of my guys. I want to tell you, I appreciate you taking the time. Olimpia Milano's own Jeff Brooks. Jeff, what's going on, man? How's everything?
Everything is good, man. Thanks for having me. This opportunity just to, speak my mind a little bit about the way of the world, in 2020 as we're about to end this year. So really appreciate the opportunity, bro.
Man, before we get into 2020 and the year that it's been, let's kind of, I gotta, pay homage to you. Gotta touch on your resume a little bit. For the people that don't know you, everybody should know you. You're originally from Louisville, Kentucky, 10-year pro, 1 year in Spain, 1 year in Russia, the last 8. You've been 8 years in Italy. You're a 4-time Super Cup Italian winner, a Euro Cup champion, Italian Cup champion, Italian League champion, and a member of the Italian national team. So big ups to you, bro.
Thank you, man. It's just all it's been, man. It's hard work. Just playing the game that I fell in love with at a very young age, and just trying to take the next step in my career every year that I've had the opportunity to. So it's just like you said, man. 10 years. It's crazy how fast it goes. Kyle.
Goes by like
I know
this,
you
man.
should know as well.
Yeah.
I just remember yesterday on my first flight to Italy. Coming to Jesi, Italy for my first opportunity, my first stint in the second league, and now I've been here with Milan for the last 3 years. Man, it's crazy. It just goes by like a whirlwind.
Now you are
you
OG
just gotta
vet.
enjoy the moment. Exactly. Wow, Jeff's an OG vet. I'm a vet now. Like, it's crazy hearing it. Like, I like Momo, David Moretti be coming up to me, like we be talking or asking advice. I'm like, damn, one of the players coming up with me asking me for advice. Like, wow, I'm in that 30+ club. Man, where did time go?
Goes by fast, man. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the podcast is that, I caught wind. I mean, me and you, we've had, private conversations, but I caught wind of what you've been doing on Instagram. You've been having conversations with your friends and other people that specifically about the topic we're talking about today. And that's, race, inequality, injustices that we've been facing, and which has been a big topic, amongst a lot of the things that have been going on in 2020. So first of all, I just want to ask you, what made you want to start having these conversations? Like I said, we've been having them privately, but what made you want to publicly start having these conversations and post them and putting them on Instagram?
Well, honestly, Cal, I think one of the main reasons is because we're here in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm not like the biggest name on Instagram or the biggest athlete over here, but I do have a following of people here in Italy. And a lot of times you talk about things dealing with racism, social injustice, these situations, I really feel like they don't understand or like they don't empathize because they don't know what's going on. It's something they can't fathom.
Right.
So actually having conversations with people who have grown and lived their whole lives a certain way, being, labeled as Black, African, or, as I like to say, African American, you kind of put it on display for people like this is a real issue. These things really do happen. So, the 3 of the guys that I talked to, Tony Easley, Carlton Scott, Ronald Moore, I had played ball with them in Caserta, but also I know they played in, Italy for quite some time of their careers. And talking to Joy Davis as an African-American woman who's an athlete, just getting the perspective from the woman, the African-American woman. I'm going to talk to many people, other than just African-Americans too, but it's just a way of shining that light on like, this really does happen. This is a real issue. It's not only just in America, it happens everywhere. It's just that maybe you don't see it the way that we do, or you don't see it because you don't want to believe it's there, but it's going on right in front of your face. In front of your face. So letting people into those conversations, man, I just really feel like it gives people a better understanding of where we are today in the world. and where we should be moving. Instead of moving backwards, we should be moving forward, dealing with this situation. I don't think we are. So having these conversations, I feel like continuously, if it just helps one person understand what someone else is going through, they can empathize, then that's all I need. You know what I'm saying? Because that one person can lead to two, two can lead to three, they're on, and so forth. So yeah, man, I just thought it was a good idea. Also, my wife was talking to me. She was like, you should maybe talk to some people and let people in and like let them hear about your experiences, let them see the pain in some people's stories, and then we'll see where, how people take it. And I think it's been going well. I've only done it 4 times, but I want to continue to do it, like I said earlier.
I think for me, like I've taken part in and watched all the conversations. For me, the dopest part about it, excuse me, the dopest part about it for me is that seeing people's comments while you're on live. And
Yes,
it's
yes.
almost
Very
like
good
you're
point.
bridging like 2 gaps. Like you have your followers from Italy and from Europe, but then you have somebody from your hometown in Louisville,
Yep,
Kentucky, and you're having a conversation. They're literally having an in-depth conversation back and forth about
I
different
think
things
that's
you're
the
talking
best part
about.
about it. Very true, because you get other people's perspectives, and they can also lead people that, like I said earlier, don't really understand or really know what's going on. And then it's like, oh, okay, I'm hearing it from so and so, and this guy's saying it in the comments, and I'm seeing it in the media. This is a real thing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I just really feel like here in Europe, I'm telling you, Kyle, I feel like they don't think stuff like that happens in America. You know what I'm saying? And George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, but we have many, many other stories, but those set the world on fire to where everybody was like, boom, okay, this is something that is really going on. And once again, that's a credit to social media, even though I don't really like social media, but that definitely is a credit to them being able to share stuff like that so everybody around the world in a second can see something like that and realize there is a real problem.
Now, what kind of feedback have you been getting from your videos? Have you been getting messages from other players, from your followers? Like, what have you been getting back from people?
I actually have gotten, I would say, at least 10 guys that I know told me they wanted to participate, you know what I'm
That's
saying? But
love.
I didn't want to just do them like day after day. I wanted to kind of space it out. So, like let some more time marinate, and then people want to come back like, oh, they're having another conversation. I feel
Hmm.
like if you do it every single day, people get tired of it. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
you missed the
saying?
point, missed the message.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And I really feel like, trying to keep it spaced out as far as time, and give guys more time, because I know a lot of these guys are also going through their season, so they're busy just like me and you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely going to have more conversations with some other players around the Euro League as well as Europe, but even some normal, like I want to talk to some normal people as well. Just everyday people, to give them an opportunity to share their stories, their experiences, and also their perspectives. I don't want it to just be, like everything is about African Americans. I
Hmm.
want to talk to Caucasians, Italians, Spanish. I want to talk to so many people, just because I want them to share their perspective on the situation, and we can get a conversation going collectively about the idea of racism. But man, for the most part, all the feedback has been good. I haven't seen any arguments like
Yeah.
in the comments, and none of that. It's all been positive feedback, positive speaking, and understanding. And that's the only thing I wanted, from this situation.
Now, what have you learned? Is there anything that that you during these conversations that have surprised you? Not only about yourself, but some of the other people, some of the guests that you have. Is there something that you talked about that you didn't expect, or you didn't understand, or you didn't even know somebody went through? And then, like, from your own side, like, when you have a conversation with somebody, is this something that you learned about yourself, throughout these conversations?
I think one of the first things, and it kind of doesn't even deal with the actual topic, is that I should have been doing this a lot earlier.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
didn't really start getting in touch and like with like my heritage until I met Shane Lawal.
Hmm.
And like we sat down when I played with him in Sassery, and just like, and he just broke it down. We were talking about racism and like race and the history of the world, the history of the United States. I'm just like, man, why I should have been learning more so about myself as who I am as an African American than, all this other stuff, playing video games, listening to music. Like I should have been researching, because once again, you're gonna, lead someone at some point, a child, your cousins, a young teammate, anybody can take an example from you of what you've been through. So like, I feel like if I would have been, talking about these things more often with more people, but like publicly, I don't like to share things publicly
Mm-hmm.
like that because you never know like you said, the word feedback is how it's going to come back, how it's going to be portrayed, how people are going to perceive it. But at the end of the day, man, to get change, you have to change things about yourself as well as the world. So that's what I feel like these IG talks have been doing for me. Is just putting myself out there, giving my perspective, my opinions, and hearing others. And now, as far as the people I've actually talked to, I'm actually very surprised to hear that they've went through racist activity
Yeah.
while here in Europe, because I felt like for me, my experience in Europe, I've only went through like one traumatic racial situation, and that was 4 years ago in Malaga. But other than that, like my time being here has been great. I love Europe. I feel like I'm treated like a person, as like in the States, I feel like I'm treated like a threat or like
Yeah.
a mystery. Like, who is he? What is this dude? What's he doing here? Why is he so big? Why is he, talking so aggressively? Why is he so loud? You know what I'm saying? Here in Europe, I feel like also because of our image as an athlete, they take more time to try to get to know you some. I feel like in the States it's not that way as far as for me. So like to hear my teammates, my former teammates, and even Drury talk about some of the things that she went through, I was very surprised, and but once again, that's just something that you have to, talk to people about, to actually hear, understand, and get to know from someone else going through things that you might have thought would never be happening because of your personal experience. So everybody's experience is different everywhere you go, and that's one thing I definitely learned from them, talking to them in the IG talks.
Yeah, I think the fact that you're having these conversations is important because from what I've learned and the knowledge that I have gained is that you can't change something without first bringing up the conversation, and
Hmm.
without conversation you won't be able to change anything
Right.
because if I don't talk to you, if you don't talk to me, and we both have a disagreement or an issue on the same issue, the same problem, we won't know until we speak about it and talk about it. And I think
Right
that
on.
is kind of the main issue and the main divide, when it comes to racism, when it comes to injustice. Because I mean, when you break it down to it, in my opinion, everybody wants the same thing. Everybody's
Hmm.
goals and everybody's main values in life are basically the same. It's just that people only see the surface and they're afraid to kind of sometimes peel the onion back and
Hmm.
have these in-depth conversations. And like I said, man, I applaud you for having
I
these. And
appreciate it, man.
man,
Yes.
I've learned a lot just from just from hearing and just from talking and just from talking to you, and then also listen to these conversations, man. I mean, they've been a total eye-opener. So I would tell people to definitely check these conversations out and definitely get a definitely listen, because you're definitely going to learn something and take some value out of it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I just feel like it's something that should be shared with, like I said, if it only gets to one person and that changes someone's view on the world, then that's all we need. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, and that's going to branch out to other people. It doesn't have to be shared 2 million times. Just, one person leads to so many other more, to so many people that you probably don't even know, but it can
Yeah.
change a lot going on, in a region, a city, the world, who knows? But you have to put yourself out there, and that's what I thought I should start doing.
Now let's talk about your own personal experiences when it comes to racism and inequality and injustices. Now, when you think about racism, inequality, social injustice, what's the first thing that comes to mind to you?
I always think the first thing that always pops in my mind is history.
Hmm.
Like the reason we are where we are is because of the history of the world. Dealing with slavery, then you go into all different types of things with Jim Crow, civil rights, blah blah. But that's the plight of the African American man or the African American woman, is that situation. But where we are today is that I feel like now we judge everyone off of appearance. You know what I'm saying? Like right away, it's like, oh, he's black, he's big, he's scary, he's aggressive, or oh, he's white, oh, he's good, he's rich,
Yeah.
he's this, he's that, or he's from Romania, oh, they are thieves, they do this, they do it. Everything is judged off of like appearance, like what they see with the eye. And like what I've been doing for especially the last 6 years, is trying to, every person I meet, I try to at least talk to them and get a vibe and then go from there,
Mm-hmm.
but not judge a person. I mean, I'm talking about the person I meet on the street, a Glovo delivery man, like whoever it is. I just try to catch a vibe first before I try to just automatically signify that this person is this way. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Just because they aren't like me. Now, Cal, at the end of the day, to be honest, because of the history of the world, every white person, but every Caucasian I see, I shouldn't trust them. I
Yeah.
shouldn't talk to them because of the history of the world. But that's not what it is. You know what I'm saying? We are human beings. And that's what I've learned more and more every day. And that's more and more what I'm trying to teach, our son, is that every person is his own person. Is not nothing else matters, but that they are human. They deserve respect until they don't respect you. You know what I'm saying?
It's
And
absolutely
things
correct.
like that. But like, I feel like all these things start at home. And like, like I said earlier, I wish I would have started to learn them a lot earlier. But you know what I'm saying? We all make mistakes, and we also use our idle times in the wrong way. But I'm happy I had that one conversation with Shane Lawal, and it just kind of changed my whole view of my life as well as the world. And that's why this is where I am today. So until we get to a point where I feel like we stop judging each other and labeling each other by something as dumb as color, I feel like nothing is ever going to change, because these things have been set in stone for us thinking with these words, these terms we use. I
Yeah, I
feel like
want
we
you. I
have to
want you
start.
to elaborate
Mhm.
elaborate that on more, because you talk about
I,
that in one of your
mhm.
conversations about how there should be the removal, the stigma of the word, the color. Like this person is
Because
white, this person is
right
black,
on, right
this
on,
person elaborate on more on that, because I think
right
that's
on. Like
something that's
so,
important.
for me, like the thing is, even if you break down the words, I heard this in a documentary called Hidden Colors. A lot
Yeah,
of people, I
great
know a lot of
documentary.
young brothers I've seen quite
Yeah,
a few of them, and I know there's a new one out. But I remember a guy was breaking down just the terms black and white and the synonyms that come with those words. And like black was like dark, scary, mysterious, evil, and then white was holy,
yeah,
innocence,
pure.
spirit,
Hmm.
pure. You know what I'm saying? Right off the strength of that, when you say someone is a black person, these synonyms automatically just start probably coming to your head because that's what you know. You know what I'm saying? If you watch TV, when scary things happen, they don't happen in the light, they happen in the
Hmm.
dark or in
Hmm.
the black. You know what I'm saying? When good things happen, they happen in the light, which would be white. You know what I'm saying? And I know it seems very simple, but it's a real thing. I feel like the more and more we use those words, we are objectifying people.
Hmm.
And people are not colors. People are people.
Our people.
People originate from places. People come from different, so many places throughout this land, but we sit up here and we actually label people by color. Objects are colors, not people. And then at the end of the day, Kyle, I make it more simple. For a person to be called black, if you look at my skin, your skin, we're not black, we're
Yeah.
brown.
Hmm.
So if you're gonna call me my color, then call me what you really see.
Hmm.
Don't come up with a word that you want to come up with, because that's not how it is. You know what I'm saying? And I know people be thinking I'm joking sometimes, but I be dead serious. Like if a random person comes up to me and calls me black, I'm like, hey, bro, I'm not black. I'm an African American. Or
Hmm.
if you want to take it somewhere else, I'm brown. But that whole signal, like I feel like you have to set people straight with these simple words, man, because I feel like these words have led us to where we are, man. Like the way it's portrayed in the media. If a Caucasian does something, he's a white male, and then people say, "Oh, well, he came from a broken home, or he was in this situation." About, but then when they say, "Oh, it was a black male," oh, well, he was in a drug-infested neighborhood, and he probably did so many other things, because these two words automatically signify who these people are right away. And I feel like that's something we should definitely get away from. And it's 2020. There's no way in hell we should still be signifying people with the words white and black, or with color. And I hate when I hear people say, "Oh, well, it's just easier." Then that means you're lazy.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, especially if I know this person, if I
Yeah.
know him or her personally, I know they come from uh, the United Kingdom, or I know they come from Italy. So I'm going to call them Italian, not white. You know what I'm saying? And even at home, like when I'm in the States, I call people like random Caucasians Caucasian, and they look at me funny. But I'm like, I don't see color. I
Yeah.
see a person that comes from somewhere, and there is a word for that. It's not a color. There's a word for for where you're from. And for me, I'm an African American. I'm not a black man. I'm not a black person. I am an African American person. You know what I'm saying? So I know some people think that, like, honestly, I go a little too far, but at the end of the day, man, I'm my own man, and I do what I have to do. You know what I'm saying? To signify who I am as a person. And I'm not gonna let someone define me. I'm gonna define myself. You know what I'm
Yeah, I mean,
saying?
it makes absolute sense. Like to be honest with you, initially when I heard it, I was like it doesn't make sense you saying like you're not calling yourself black, like you offending other black people. But then when you
Mm-hmm.
actually sat there and broke it down, and I really like kind of heard the conversation, I was like, you simplified it and you made it, you make it understandable, and to me, like it's absolutely true. Like people shouldn't be objectified and shouldn't be called by a certain color, because we're more than just a color. There's a person behind that. So I
I
100%.
feel like the at the end of the day, man, with the situation of color, I'm telling you, man, it just automatically defines and signifies who that person is. And that's exactly why you have the situations going on in the States dealing with like police brutality. Because when it's a black man, his life is worthless. You know why?
Yeah.
Because he's black. But when it's a white man, we just saw in Illinois a Caucasian man went in a bowling alley and shot 6 people. 3 died, 3 lived. But since he's a Caucasian male or Caucasian, nothing happened to him. You know what I'm saying? He got taken in jail. He got his due process. But if it was a black man, there wouldn't have been nothing left out there but bullet shells. I mean, shells from bullets, bro. You know what I'm saying? So like, I feel like, and that stems from just 2 words: black, worthless, or black is this. White
Mm-hmm.
is, black. White has worth. White, no, we can't do that to white because he's white. You know what I'm saying? How would that look? You know what I mean? And I think it's just so simple, man, especially in the day and age that we are in the information age. You can find out all these things looking up on the internet, figuring out why we use these terms, but that depends on the person if they want to take the time to become educated about the world, because so many people don't. But at the end of the day,
Exactly.
that's not your choice. It's not, my choice, but I have to make the choice for myself. And that's how I continue to define myself to people that meet me for the first time, or if we've been friends for years. And that's why I hope to continue to teach our son as well.
Now, you talked about it, it all starts from home, and your home is Louisville, Kentucky. For
Mm-hmm.
those and our European listeners, Louisville was, the kind of Midwest, mid Southwest, I guess you would say.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up, did you experience any overt racism or, anything like that, that looking back on it now, you like, man, like that was racist, or, or did you even realize the thing growing up?
I mean, I've heard, the word nigger be thrown around, here and there from Caucasian folks, but I've only had like one real instance uh, in my lifetime, and that actually happened in a basketball game. I talked about this in one of my conversations.
Mm-hmm.
We were playing, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think we were in Myrtle Beach. Long story short, we were playing the game. I was playing really well, and the guy who was guarding me was a Caucasian kid. And I'm scoring the ball, and then I scored one more time, and the guy was like, "All right, you're not gonna score on me again, nigger." And I was like, I just heard that right, and I was like, okay, maybe I heard something else. So then I scored again on like a fast break layup. And he was like, I promise you, nigger, that's the last time you're gonna score on me, blah blah. And I said, bro, you got one more time to use that word in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm trying to keep my composure because of the situation of like college coaches that are watching you, and I'm gonna get to that point when I make my point. And just in general, because this is the game, man. Like I'm trying to just focus on the game. I'm not trying to let anything from the outside reach me here. You know what I'm saying? This is my arena. This is what I've been doing my whole life. I love to do it. So I can't let something like that affect me here. Man, we come down 2 more trips, ball going to rim. I get a tip in, and he's like, man, somebody can help me box this nigga out. And I just backhand him, bro. Like, just, I swung for the fences. So I hit him, and like, they broke us up, blah, blah, and I get a technical foul. And then I told the referee, like, what happened. And they gave him a tech, and then my coach didn't hear it until I came home and told him. He was like, what, man, what the hell you do that for? And I told him. He was like, oh, well, all right.
Mm-hmm.
play ball. Okay, you're having a great game. You know, go ahead. And but I do remember something that always stuck out in my mind. Billy Donovan was there recruiting me, the coach from Florida. I
Yeah.
hope I got his name right.
Yeah.
And I just saw him pack his stuff up, his backpack, and he just walked out. And like I never had the opportunity to explain what was going on. As a 17-year-old kid, automatically, you hot-headed, you immature, blah blah blah. But I never had the opportunity to explain. Only thing he probably saw was, oh, this kid is effing crazy. You know what I'm saying? What is this? You know what I'm saying? Not knowing what's really going on in between the lines, things that should never be brought in between the lines were,
or
that
said.
has nothing to do with basketball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that's really the only crazy like racial situation I've had growing up. But you have a father and a mother just like I do, and you hear stories and things being taught. But I ain't gonna lie, being young, I didn't even think they were really talking about anything that really happened, or was really going on in the world. The way that slavery was taught when I was growing up in elementary, middle school, is that just a bunch of people from Africa came here and worked, and that was that. But you don't learn like the real situations, you know what I'm saying? What really happened. And I think in a sense that's racial too, if I'm really thinking about it,
Yeah.
in retrospect. But that was probably my craziest racial experience was that one. So, but at the end of the day, man, I feel like as an African American, it's gonna happen at
Yes.
some point in your life, because you can't tell the world how to react to you. You can only react to the world. So I feel like every African American will go through something where they're like, why did that happen? Just because I'm African American? Like why? Like why? Why me? Or why us? Or why anybody else have to go through something racial? Like it just shouldn't happen, Cal, to a 1-year-old baby to a 98-year-old man. But these things do.
Now, when you talk about things that happen in Louisville, Kentucky, and like I said, for the people that are European followers and people that are listening, Louisville was pretty much the epicenter of the Black Lives Matter movement, the social injustice movement, because rest in peace to Breonna Taylor. She was tragically murdered, in Louisville, Kentucky, in her apartment, from police officers. What being from that community, growing up, born there, raised there, a lot of your family member and friends from there, what was your initial reaction, when you first heard the story? And then, how did your family and your friends react as well?
I mean, what's crazy about that one is the media coverage, Kyle,
Yeah.
because you heard so many different stories, like, oh, she was selling drugs, or oh, she was with a drug dealer, or she was doing this, or she was doing, and it's just like, well, how many different stories are going to come out, to where y'all trying to make this seem like this was a bad person, they deserve to die. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing that you literally just busted in someone's crib, they got startled, they shot because they thought somebody was breaking into their home, and y'all just shot that joint up like Call of Duty. And at the end of the day, a young woman is dead for no reason because y'all have false information, and then a bunch of stuff was coming out. So man, everybody was just talking about, how bad is it going to get? It wasn't just about Breonna Taylor. They were just like, how much worse is it going to get? It's already happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can go all the way back to Mike Brown. It's already been happening. This happened, then this happened, then this happens. And then when Breonna Taylor happened, then ultimately George Floyd, everybody just had this sense of like, enough is enough.
Yeah.
Like we as a people are just done. You know what I'm saying? Now, the whole situation with Black Lives Matter, I feel like they have definitely put everything that's been going on as far as racism and police brutality on Front Street in the right way. You know what I'm saying? But also, I think the whole riots, the protest, all that stuff was needed. You know what I'm saying? Because when you just kind of talk about it, you write a post, a hashtag, nobody cares, man. But when you really get in front of people and really have a conversation, show that anger, that distraught, you know what I'm saying, about what's going on, I feel like that's how things ultimately can change. So the whole situation with Breonna Taylor, man, it just kind of set Louisville on fire.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, there's been situations of racism in Louisville, dealing with dirty cops, planting drugs on people and blah, blah, blah. But seeing a young woman killed that way where she had no chance of living at all, like as soon as it happened, it was a done deal. You know, it just made Louisville, they made the people of Louisville say, no, this is enough is enough. Not here, not now. It's time for us to do something. And they did. They went out, they protested, they tore some stuff up. And at the end of the day, I mean, it is what it is. You know, we shouldn't be having people, no matter, once again, no matter what color they are, should be dying the way that people are dying. You know, these people are dying like dogs being shot in the street. And
Yeah.
even a dog shouldn't be shot in the street. You know what I'm saying? But it just seems like it's so okay for an African American life or a colored life to be taken. It's like it's so okay in our world. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole situation dealing with Breonna Taylor, once again, I felt like put everything on Front Street that things have to change, and I hope they will. I mean, I'm being hopeful. I feel like you have faith,
Yeah.
myself. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see what happens. But the people from Louisville really did stand up. They did what they had to do. They came together, and they still trying, man. Because as you know, those cops have not been convicted. They haven't been charged anything. You know what I'm saying? And nothing, like nothing has been. Only thing they said was attempted murder because they shot through someone else's house.
Yeah.
That's it.
Which is something that
Nothing else just came out.
Which is something that happens way too often. That I think people outside of the U.S. And outside of the Black community don't understand. They don't get it. Why there is this distrust or mistrust with the police community, with Black people. And you know, one of my best friends is a police officer, and I had this conversation with him all the time. And it's like, you know, it's from a young age, you know, when you're in a car and a police officer stops you, you automatically tense up. Or even if you're just driving your car and a police officer's behind you, you automatically tense up. So it's like, you know, there has to be some type of, you know, balance between the situation. So
that's so funny you bring that up, Cal, because like you asked me earlier about like a racial situation. And I'm gonna let you decide. It's gonna be real quick. One summer, I think it was 6 years ago, I was driving my car with two of my friends, a Cadillac convertible, Eldorado, driving through the bar area. So it's loud music everywhere, blasting. You know what I'm saying? It's a Thursday night. It's 11 p.m. Whatever. So I'm driving. We about to go to the bar. Me and my two friends. I get pulled over. So I'm like, okay. So right away, the first question they asked me, not even license and registration. Do you have any weapons in the car? What the hell you mean? Do I have weapons in the car?
Yeah.
Like what? Why is it your first question? Why is it your first remark? Whatever. Said no. Then they asked for license and registration. Give that to them. Whose car is this? My father's. You know what I'm saying? I'm just using it for the summer because I play ball. So automatically I'm explaining that, you know what I'm saying, what I do. Doesn't even matter. So I was like, officer, why was I stopped? Oh, you were playing music loud. I was like, well, I mean, we're in the bar. There's loud music everywhere here. Like, why? What? Right off the strength of me saying that, bro, he went berserk. Also, are you trying to get smart? What are you trying to say? You trying to get right away? Because my boy, like yours is a police officer, my boy's a firefighter. Right away, I shut up, said, no, sir, I'm sorry. I shouldn't even have mentioned it. And then my boy, you know, kind of showed his fireman card and everything ended up being okay. But off the strength of that, Cal, like weapons, anger, I swear in a flash of 45 seconds. Like, why? Now, I'm not saying myself, I'm not saying it was racist. That cop could have been having the worst day of his life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And things are going on at home, you know, and, you know, bills that need to be paid, you know, blah, blah. You don't know. The only thing I can judge is like your energy towards me. And I just felt like that all that stuff was not needed whatsoever. I asked a simple question, but you asked me a question that, in my opinion, was racial profiling, talking about some weapons, not even asking me about my car first or explaining why I was pulled over. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I just thought the strength of that, the whole situation with like the police force, my opinion, I think they underpaid.
Yeah.
These people put their lives on the line
I
every
agree.
day. They're underpaid, but ain't nothing I can do about it. Ain't nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
But then you have the situations that happen with people dying and being, you know, killed or manhandled in the streets. Is it racism or is it anger? You know, from the situations, you never can really tell. But the only thing that you do know is that the victim is always African American, or we had a Mexican being beat down in a grocery store about 2 weeks ago for it seemed like it was nothing. He got killed in a grocery store. Then we have a Caucasian cop every time. Now, is it racism or anger? Right away, you're gonna think it's racist if I'm not
Yeah.
being if I'm being real. But do we know that? Do we know that off the strength? We don't. Maybe that man has an African American wife at home, but he just pissed off and then he just loses it. You know what I'm saying? But right away, we think it's racism. And these things, just because of color, is why these things happen. To me, man, I just think we just in a bad way, Kyle. Just
Yeah.
in a bad way.
How do you now? Before I ask you this question, and I want to ask you about, you know, the George Floyd video. When you seen the George Floyd video, what were your initial reactions? I could speak on mine. You know, number one, the first thing that came to mind was, as we talk about, you know, interactions with the police. You know, I've been pulled over. I'm sure as anybody has been pulled over, have had interactions with police. And my first thought came to mind was, you know, how many different situations I could have been in where that could have been me, or that could have been in one of my friends. If we, like you said, if maybe the police officer was having a bad day, maybe, you know, it was a situation went wrong. Maybe I could have said something that, you know, that ticked him or pissed him off. And then also I immediately went into dad mode. And, you know, when he was sitting there and, you know, as the cop was on his knee and he was calling out for his mom. And I can immediately think, you know, you have a son, I have a son. And it's like, you know, imagine, you know, seeing that video as a father or as a mother, you know, seeing your child, you know, go through this for, you know, for no reason. So it was heartbroken. And I mean, and I'm not a super emotional person, not a super emotional guy, but, you know, from that video, you know, I showed a lot of emotions, and I'm sure, you know, that's what sparked a lot of emotions out of a lot of people, because, you know, as we said with Breonna Taylor, and then, like I said, with George Floyd, you know, everybody was like, enough's enough. Like, is this going to change? So, you know, what were your initial reactions when you seen the video of George Floyd?
I'm gonna try to keep this as short as possible because I think you're gonna feel where I'm coming from. And this is gonna be controversial, but I don't care.
Yeah.
When I first saw George Floyd, I watched the whole video and immediately I thought of Dylan Roof. Dylan Roof went into a church in South Carolina and killed 9 elderly African American people. Premeditated, didn't care, went in there and killed people. He was taken from his home, taken to get Burger King, and then taken to the police station. Why did he not die? You killed 9 people. I don't care about anything else. You killed 9 people. How does a man that went to a store, maybe supposedly using counterfeit money, whatever, how does he die in that situation? Being nonviolent, how does he die? Why does he die?
Yeah.
Why? Because once again, he's black. So the view is he is worthless. He has no worth. Dylan Roof has worth. Why? Because he is labeled as white. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? That I thought about George Floyd, don't get me wrong, but right away I thought, how does this man die for something like this, being nonviolent, being held up by the police? There's 4 police officers there. He would have to be mentally crazy to do anything to you know what I'm saying, put himself in a position where he would die, and he still dies. But then this man goes and kills 9 people, and he's just taking like VIP treatment like nothing even happened. You know what I'm saying? Number 2, how do you not understand that putting a man in handcuffs, there's nothing he can do?
Yeah.
He's on the ground already. Where is he going?
Yeah.
What is he gonna do? But you put your knee on his neck, and I had no idea about, you know, you hitting a certain vein that closes off oxygen or whatever. I'm not a doctor. I'm just going off of what the reports were. And they say, you know, if you do that for a certain amount of time, you can die. But you still sat there while this man was screaming, I can't breathe. He started to cry. He started to bawl and cry for his mom who's dead, all these things. And you still sit there until you feel that he's unresponsive. that off the strength of me, that deserves a life sentence. I'm sorry. You should never come out of jail again. That was torture. That wasn't just murder. That was torture. Murder is you shoot a guy, with a gun. You tortured him for 8 minutes where he could not breathe. He was thinking about, am I going to make it home? He was thinking about, why is this happening to me? Am I going to make it home to my kids? All these things for 8 straight minutes. And then he dies. Can you imagine? And as you said, the last point, if I saw Jordan on the ground like that, I don't care that I'm a professional basketball player, Cal, and I'm telling you this today, December, what's the day, 28th? Whatever the day is, I would go crazy, like for real, to see my son be in a situation like that. And it's not that this man has been convicted of anything. He's not been charged with anything. He's not violent. He's doing everything by the code. He's being, he's letting the police do what they need to do, and he still is put in a situation like that. I'm going berserk. That's the only thing I thought. All those 3 points is what I thought. I was just like, this right here is what people need to realize. This is a real thing. These situations really do happen. That I'm just saying it because they say it's simple. Black lives are worthless because these are the only type of people, or colored lives are worthless. These are the only type of people who die these ways, dealing with the police, or hell, with just people in general, or people like us. But just to make a quick hit on what you said about Black Lives Matter, see, the reason why I'm kind of like in the middle ground about that whole thing is because there was a situation that really made me mad, bro, in Louisville that happened about 2 months ago. The story is there was a kid, young guy, I think he was in his early 20s. The guy was murdered in his car. Now, Cal, I don't know what he was doing with his life. You know what I'm saying? You put yourself in the streets, things happen. But man, the guy had his 3-year-old daughter in the car, and they murdered the daughter too. Off the strength of that, that's when I was thinking about all the people who talk about Black Lives Matter and all this stuff. Where? When? We as a people have to do better. These things cannot happen. And we talk about Black Lives Matter. It's not just the police. It's not just Caucasians. We
as people. I mean, that's the biggest criticism of the Black Lives Matter, especially, where I'm from, the Philadelphia area, where it's like, there's a murder every day.
Bro, Louisville's going crazy, and it's all teenagers. And that's what's scary, Cal. It's all teenagers what's going on in my city. My mom and dad tell me every time I talk to them, a 16-year-old kid kills a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old kid kills a 19-year-old, and they all African American. It's just like, dog. But these same kids are like in these same lifestyles. As soon as a police officer does something to an African American, they want to be up here talking about Black Lives Matter. No, man, we can't have it both ways. We as a people have to do better, and then we can talk about this situation. Don't get me wrong. Effed up things are happening with the situation of police brutality. But bro, the things that are happening in our community as a whole as African Americans, come on, man, they shouldn't be happening.
It's like almost like
something like that should not happen.
I guess what people say is like, you can't, ask for value until you value your own. And, that's a lot of like the biggest criticism. Like, there's, so many. So it's like, how are we going to ask, other people, white people, Caucasian people, police to value our lives when they look at us and you're like, y'all killing each other.
Y'all don't even value. Yeah, you don't even value your own. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Cal, and once again, I'm saying some controversial stuff, but it is what it is because I'm just keeping it real. I don't know what the man was in. I honestly don't. You know what I'm saying? He could have been in all types of stuff, bro. But to see a 3-year-old being murdered, like gunned down, like yo, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Where do you draw the line? That's basically what I'm saying is where do you draw the line in a situation? You know what I'm saying? Dealing with ourselves as a community. You know what I mean? And then you want to go out here and these same people that do stuff like this will go out here and talk about some Black Lives Matter or the system and all that. Come on, bro. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, call a spade a spade. We have to do better as a people. And then we can talk about everything else. But you have to look in the mirror first. It always starts with yourself. Start with self, and then you can worry about everything else. I feel like what I'm talking about, dealing with race, treating everybody with respect, I mean, I feel like you can be a credit to it. You see how I treat everybody we meet. I don't give a damn what they look like, where they're from, color. I treat them with respect as a human being. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like we need to lead by example of ourselves going that way, especially our community.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, I agree. I mean, it has to be some type of, as I said before, some type of balance, between both sides. But, with the Black Lives Matter movement, one of the things that I was most surprised of, obviously, we've seen it, the protests, we've seen the rallies in the U.S., with Trayvon Martin and Mike Brown and, a number of different names that, we can go on and on about different names and people that have happened to. But the biggest surprise to me was the global protests. Seeing people in Paris, seeing people in Australia. I read somewhere they said that there was, over, I think it was 60 countries, and it was across every continent that there was some type of protest or some type of, acknowledgement of the Black Lives Matter movement. So what were your thoughts about that? And, were you surprised as well?
I was very surprised, but I was honestly super impressed
Yeah.
because I really felt that these people were doing this because they thought that it could bring change as far as things going on in their own countries, dealing with racism as well. You know what I'm saying? So I was very proud to see all these other countries step up to the plate like that, talking about these people lives matter too. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that's one of the things that was taken away from it in America was when people said Black Lives Matter, they used the words to try to, oh, well, you only saying that Black Lives Matter. Of course not.
Yeah.
We're saying Black Lives Matter too.
Yeah.
But seeing all these other countries, man, do the things that they did, turn down these racist statues and defiling these things, dealing with, like the Nazis and all types of stuff, bro. I was clapping. My soul was just clapping it up because these are things that should have been done so long ago. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sorry to say some people's lives were sacrificed, for the greater good. And it
Mm-hmm.
sucks, man, to say that. You know what I'm saying? But that seems like that's what happened for everybody to really take this on as a real problem in the world, and that's why you should always, send a prayer to these people's families that had to go through these situations of seeing their loved ones die the way that they died just for being who they are, African Americans, Black people. You know what I'm saying? It sucked. But seeing all these people stand up the way they did here in Europe, Australia, all the things going on throughout the world, man, it was a big up to them. Very impressed. As you said, surprised, but I think also that's where social media came in.
Yeah.
Because seeing that video of George Floyd, I'm telling you, man, I feel
Sparked a
like
global
the
outcry.
same thing with Breonna Taylor. People said enough is enough. Like something really bad is going on in America as well as throughout the world dealing with the idea of racism.
Yeah.
And it was very nice to see. It really was. I was very surprised. And I can't thank him enough as an African American man. I just can't. Because it really showed me that there are some people who think that we are people, not colors. We are together in this world. Some people have more than others, but we are all just humans. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it really showed for me.
Now, when another thing that sparked from this, from these controversial issues is, at the resurgence of athletes using their platforms to, spread awareness or to fight or to combat these issues. Now, when you see athletes do this and you hear, the main criticism, going back to, with LeBron, with the shut up and dribble, or the criticism, with, that athletes shouldn't talk about politics or shouldn't talk about these things. They should only just focus on, what they know best is at their sport. So when you hear that, what comes to mind for you, and, and how did you feel about the reaction of, so many athletes? And again, yet again, it wasn't just, even though the NBA and the WNBA was kind of at the forefront, the NFL and, sports in America. But when you see, the Barcelona men's basketball team, wearing Black Lives Matter shirts, or, Champions League, taking a knee before games, or, even
Right.
with our mission, did that surprise you to see the, the global outcry from the sports community as well?
I mean, it really didn't because that's one thing I can say has been good about the future, like where we are today, is that in a sense, societal rules are kind of falling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like back in the day, if you were an athlete, an entertainer, that's what you were supposed to do, entertain. You weren't supposed to think. You weren't supposed to feel. You weren't supposed to share your opinion. You were supposed to entertain, make money, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Now I really feel that these athletes, as well as myself, we understand the power that we have, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying, in the world. You know, it's not about just the money. It's about our faces, about our images, about our opinions that can change someone else's opinion about how they live in this world. And seeing the way the NBA reacted to that guy being shot up in Wisconsin, you know, seeing them leave the floor, decide not to play, I didn't think something like that would ever happen.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
here I am again, surprised. You
I
know, I
agree.
was like, wow. And at some point, I didn't know if they was ever going to play again. You know, because I was like, so we've been talking about racism throughout this whole year since George Floyd, and then something like this happens. So it's just like the message has not been shared, the message has not been clear enough, and people don't care enough. You know what I'm saying? Because for something like this to still happen, but seeing athletes stand up the way that they have, I just feel like the only thing I can do once again is share my appreciation, because it
Hmm.
seems like now these guys don't care as much about image and all that stuff. I'm going to say what I need to say. I'm going to share my view. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like some people need to hear it. There's someone out there that needs to hear a Jalen Brown say what he needs to say, or they need to hear a Serena Williams as an African American woman say her piece about what's going on in the world. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. So it's been dope to see. You know, and I just hope it continues. I hope these guys continue to share, you know, how they feel, their thoughts, and not just about inside the lines,
Hmm.
about the world, because it matters. It really does. You know, I feel like a lot of the youth look up to these athletes, especially the big time, you know, big name athletes. They really look up to how they, you know, feel about what's going on in the world. And it's something that I just hope continues.
Now we in Europe, you know, the most of the racism that has happened towards athletes usually happens to soccer or football players. I mean, there was just a incident a couple of weeks ago when a referee got into an incident with a black coach and the players
Mhm.
walked off the field. You know, has something like that happened to you? While you were playing in Europe, like in the middle of a match or in the middle of a game, or have you even experienced any type of racism like that? Um,
Nah, I'm gonna be completely honest. I
yeah,
haven't. Only I remember one time arguing with a fan in like four league in the second league, but it was like basketball. It was nothing racial, you know. So I've never actually dealt with racist activity during a game, and I thank the Lord for it,
yeah,
because once again I am older, I'm more mature, but also I know that fire I have in my heart about being disrespected in a way like that over a sport. You know what I'm saying? There's no way my color or who I am or what they think I am should ever be brought into the arena
into
in
the
between
sport.
those lines. It
Yeah,
has nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? But I never have. But seeing people go through these situations, you know what I'm saying? Once again, I just give them all the credit in the world to stay as calm as they do, because I continuously think like, what would I do in these situations? Like
hmm,
some of these soccer players go on the field and they hear, you know, people making the monkey noise, like,
yeah,
and ooh, ah, and all that stuff. It's just like, damn, and you got to go out there and perform. You know why? Because you're being paid to perform. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to feel. You know what I'm saying?
or
You're supposed to
react.
go out there and just perform. You know what I'm saying? And it makes me feel sad. It honestly does, because, like I said, there's no way something like that should ever come in between a sport. A sport is entertainment for the people to enjoy. We love doing it, man, because we just love the nature of competition.
Yeah,
We love using our skill, what we've been doing and sacrificing for our entire lives. And now we sitting here sharing this with y'all for something that y'all can enjoy. But for you to take it so serious to the point where you would disrespect a person dealing with his race just so maybe you can get a rise on him to where he would, you know, not play as well. Where are your priorities in life? Who are you as a person? You know what I'm saying? To do something like that. So for me, I'm just thanking God every day that I haven't went through anything, racist while playing, because God, it might be the day once again you might have to hold me back, bro. Especially if I'm close, if I can get close to him. But nah, man, no jokes aside. I mean, all jokes aside, like for real, like it's just once again, it kind of just shows where we are today. Like we just need to continue to improve as people, because it's unacceptable.
Yeah,
It's unacceptable if something like that will be brought into the realm of sport entertainment where we are here to enjoy. Don't get me wrong, I understand competition. You love your team and blah blah blah, but there is a line. In everything, there's always a line, and some lines should never ever be crossed. And it happens more often than not. And like I said, the word I always use is embarrassing. It is, as people, it's an embarrassing thing
absolutely.
to see. It really is.
Absolutely. Now, one thing I've noticed this season is that these topics have been coming up more often in locker rooms, and especially our locker room, especially
Mm-hmm.
with guys that are non-American, European guys that don't
Mm-hmm.
don't have never experienced this before. So what are your thoughts
Mm-hmm.
about that? Like, these topics and these conversations, finally entering the locker rooms and finally, having these discussions. So even though the course of not just this season, but in the past for you, have these conversations, come up in the locker room, with your American teammates or,
Mm-hmm.
with European teammates. Because at the end of the day, like, we're all kind of a melting pot in our locker room. Even guys from the States, we have guys from all over,
Yep.
and even our
Yep.
foreign players. I mean, we have guys that are from Italy, but they're from different parts of Italy, guys from
Yep.
different parts of Europe. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to see these conversations start to come up. So I wanted to know
Right on.
about your thoughts.
This is a good question. Like I can keep it. I'm gonna share like a collective point and my individual point. Like
Yeah.
collectively, I just think it shows that trust and that bond of brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? That it's very hard to find. You know what I'm saying, in the world today, because we just got so much going on. But to see guys from different places, as you said, want to know what's going on with this situation, that situation, racism, social injustice, whatever it is, it's pretty aspiring to see. It's like, bro, you want to know what I'm going through or what someone else is going through and why they're going through it. So to see that going on in locker rooms, and not only ours and other ones for sure, I think it's a very dope concept to see that like everybody is there, not only for basketball, but also to understand each other as men, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And what we go through every day. Sometimes I talk to like more skinny about what it's like to be an Italian man and
Yeah.
what he's experienced, and stuff like that. So I think it's very inspiring and aspiring to see, because it's like these people want to know not just the basketball player, they want to know me as a man
As a
and
human
what
being.
I've gone through in my life and what I have been going through. Now individually, like I've always, I think throughout my career, you will never find a teammate that felt like they couldn't talk to me about anything.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I've always been the coolest dude in the locker room, because I want people to have that vibe that, we're not only here for basketball. As I just said, we're here as men, but also as brothers. So we on a team, we're family. So if there's anything you want to talk about, if yourself, about me, my experience, or whatever, I always want to be able to share that link. Because also I think it builds chemistry and trust on the floor too.
Amongst each other, yeah,
Because it's like,
definitely.
I know him, I know this guy, I know this dude, I know that heart, his heart, I know his, what he thinks, and stuff like that. Like so, my example always, what I use when people ask me questions like this, is about Gigi.
Yeah.
I always hated Gigi.
Yeah.
I've been competing against him for years, and now I play with him on the same team because I hate him for that damn fadeaway, because it's almost unstoppable. But like I remember this 2 summers ago, we were in the training camp for the World Cup with the national team. And we had a 40-minute walk back to the hotel or something, not 40, 30-minute walk, whatever. And there was some stuff going on here in Italy dealing with African immigrants. And me and Gigi literally talked, not only for that 30-minute walk, we talked for like an hour and a half, 2 hours,
Mm-hmm.
just about the idea of racism, so that he can understand it more about the things that's going on in America and why things are happening here in Italy, and also sharing that view with me so that I can understand what was going on in Italy. At the time being, Gigi was still playing for Fenerbahce. So we weren't going to be teammates throughout the year, but we were teammates for the national team.
Yeah.
But that shows like that relationship that can be built of just conversation. You know what I'm saying? Gigi's a wonderful guy, don't get me wrong. Now, I was only saying I hate him just because on the floor, but he's always been a dope guy. But us being able to share that moment of talking about a situation as big as racism and us being empathetic towards each other because of the way our countries were and what was going on, that shows that bond that can be built, you know what I'm saying, in a locker room that also will last a lifetime. Like me and Gigi, I feel like we can talk about anything at any time
Anything and everything.
because he's a cultured man and he wants to know about everything that's going on in the world. If I don't call him Jack Sparrow, which is a pirate, I call him Dosey Keese because he's like the most interesting man in the world because he wants to know everything. Like his mind, his brain, he wants to be filled with knowledge, you know what I'm saying, about what you're going through, what this teammate's going through, what that teammate thinks, what his opinion is. And it's pretty dope to have in a locker room. And I've always wanted to share that link to my teammates that I am an open book. We can talk about anything at any time because I trust you guys, but I also want you to know that, you know, you always have that trust in me, you know, that I will be there to talk to you about anything, share my perspective, and you share yours as well. So the locker room, I feel like can be built to that bond of brotherhood, family, off of situations like this, because you get to know your teammates more than just passing the ball and then making a jump shot or them helping you weak side when you're getting beat off the dribble. You know what I'm saying? So
that's part of the, like you said, the locker room brotherhood. And I'm glad to see those conversations occur more often, and not only within our locker room, but just amongst players, just in general. It seems like in you're a prime example with your conversations that you've been having. And I've been having conversations with people and hearing different things, like to have those open dialogues and to learn. I think it's been, you know, probably the best part, you know, of this 2020, I guess, experience for me.
Yeah. It's been a positive thing. I like the way you put that because it's been thrown in your face.
Yeah.
So you have to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that can just stay, you know, in the dirty laundry. You don't have to wash it. No, now it's in your face. You smell it. You sense it. You got to take care of it. You have to bring it up. You have to talk about it and take care of it. And like I said, share your perspectives and you see where everybody is and also share so people can understand. And that's been one of the positives about 2020 has been that for sure. That's a good point, bro.
Now, getting to your family and a little more personal, you know, being African American man in Italy, you know, for those that don't know, your wife is Italian, and you know, both of you have lived, you know, grown up in completely different, you know, cultures, different, you know, upbringings. So, you know, when you have the conversations about that racism and growing up in America, you know, with her and also her family, you know, what type of, you know, conversation, what type of questions, what type of subjects are brought up, and how open are they? And not only, you know, her side of the family, but also your side of the family, you know, wanting to get to know their experiences, wanting to get to know, you know, her experiences as well.
Well, as far as them, I just share the history.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because they don't know it, Kyle.
Yeah.
They don't know about civil rights, Jim Crow. They know a snippet about slavery, and that's it. Like I share things and show things to my wife, and that she just can't believe has happened in America. You know what I'm saying? And she just like, wow, like these things really have happened. These are things we don't hear about over here. You know, so being able to share that stuff with them, they can continue to understand who I am as an African American man, the plight that I have, the challenges I may face throughout my life. Now, my family, they basically just want her to also understand, and whenever her family, because her family hasn't been able to visit just yet, like her mom and dad, her brother. But I really hope, you know, when COVID's situated, they can. But every time that Benedetta has came to visit the States with us and now coming back since we live together, we're married, they just want her to continue to understand like what it is in our neighborhood, the things that go on, you know, the way things are, the reasons that are behind them and things like that. But they also do want to get to know like her history, where she comes from, the things that have happened in Italy and stuff like that. It's kind of like a two-way street.
Yeah.
You know, just sharing information, sharing experiences. And I think it's been nothing but positive for me, like to share that I feel like my wife had that culture shock, which I did myself,
Mm-hmm.
coming to play professionally in Italy, but she did too, coming to like where I come, my neighborhood, seeing the things that she saw. She was just like, wow, like this is what a real bad neighborhood looks like.
Mm-hmm.
This is what real poverty is, you know what I'm saying, and things like that. So it's just been nothing but eye opening. I think that's the main word that I can use. It's been eye opening for both of us on both accounts.
Mm-hmm. Now your
Yeah.
son, we're both fathers and we both have sons.
Mm-hmm.
And even though he's still young,
Mm-hmm.
shout out to King Jordan.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
he's he's going to grow up and he's not only going to be biracial, but he's also going to be bicultural,
Mm-hmm.
being Italian American, so what type
Mm-hmm.
of lessons have you been talking to him, or have you been talking to him, already at an early age? What type of things have you been, trying to, I guess you could say, just say put in his head, but trying
Yeah.
to get him to
Yes.
understand better,
Totally. I know what you're saying. You tell him, what am I trying to instill?
instill in him. That's the
Yes, that
proper word. Instill in
foundation.
him the foundations.
One for sure has been manners.
Yeah.
Like, every person he sees, he speaks to them. Because as you've
Hmm.
seen with me, I
Definitely.
speak to everybody that
Yeah, definitely.
because that's how I was raised.
Hmm.
Like my dad does the same way. My dad's like the Grinch, but
Yeah.
like when he first approaches someone, he speaks. He's very mannerable, and he's always taught that to me. And those things have to be passed down because those are the things that have been lost. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? I feel like in our society. So every time Jordan sees somebody, he speaks, he says thank you, just the little things. But I think one thing I definitely did start with him, and that was a year ago, once he really started to learn color, was his skin.
Hmm.
Because I want him to define himself. I don't want him to allow people to define him by a word that he doesn't understand. Because if he doesn't see black, that's not what I want to be defined as. So when I ask him, like, so what color is your skin? What I've heard is light brown or
Hmm.
gold, things like this. You know what I'm saying? I've never heard the word black, and I always wanted to be that way. I want Jordan to define himself as what he sees in the mirror every day
Hmm.
that he wakes up. You know what I'm saying? And I think when you try to instill that foundation about self-worth, self-assurance
That's
as a
important.
person, that's where lead a young man to being a good man, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And something of this society that can help others throughout, his life. So, man, those are just the basic fundamentals, man. It's just been respect for his fellow man, his fellow kids that he plays with, and learning that he's just a person like everyone else. He's not a color. He's a young boy. He's going to grow into being a man, as you said,
Hmm.
a king. So you have to signify yourself as that. I define who I am. I'm gonna tell you who I am, not what you think I am. You know what I'm saying? And I know it's early. It's 3, 4 years old, but hey, it's never too early.
It's
You
never
know what I'm
too
saying?
early.
Never too early to instill that information, that knowledge. Because that's something that won't be forgotten. It's something that'll be passed down.
Agreed, agreed. Now, sticking with the family, let's talk about the family business.
Hmm.
You're wearing the shirt now. Take off Milano.
Yes,
So
sir.
describe the origin and the ideas behind the clothing brand. I'll read the description you have on the website. We do this by drawing out our world of references that are clothes and fashion, creating an intense metaphor. And our story, undressing, means taking off what means us makes us slaves to the ideas of others and blind to reality. Getting naked means showing yourself for who you are without boundaries. Getting dressed means proudly showing off your ideas, exposing your visions of the world, and having the courage to raise your voice and set a message and evolve. That's powerful, man. So talk about the origins of that, and talking about the ideas and the message behind the clothing brand, and the goals you're looking to try to get out of this.
It was actually my brother-in-law's Giacomo Pinati. It was
Hmm.
his idea. He
Okay.
he was telling me that I've always liked clothes. You know what I'm saying? I have an idea about a clothing line. And then we started to talk, break it down for the last 2 years. And exactly what you came up and read just now is exactly how we feel.
Hmm.
With fashion, you show to the world who you are. I don't think people realize that enough. And that's
Yeah.
how I feel about the way I dress. So, for instance, when I come to the gym, you see me with a Goku hoodie on, you know that I like anime. Or if I come to the gym, I have on Marvin Gaye on my hoodie, you know that I like Marvin Gaye or Malcolm X, things like this. I'm showing to the world. If I never meet you again, I'm showing you who I am, what I like, what I stand by, things like that. With our brand, that's exactly where we want people to go. Is that when you wear our brand, it's not only about the social injustices, racism, and things like that. It's also taking off, which is going towards something in life. So when you take off, you're gaining momentum to being
Mm-hmm.
a better you, success, a better addition to this world, but also taking off, which comes back to the social injustice, racism, whatever our topic may be for a season, that you're taking off that stigma of that negativity towards something, racism, violence towards women, mental health, as you brought up, we were talking about earlier, depression, things like that. You know what I'm saying? This brand is to help you show to the world that you are either taking off towards something or you're taking off something that will hinder you from being a better human being. So once we really broke it down and talked and got our ideas together, that's exactly what we want people to wear our brand for. It's like we either want you to wear it because you really share our views about the world, yourself, the motivation, the ambition that you may share with someone else, or just the person that you see in the mirror every day,
Mm-hmm.
or you really love our brand and you love the gear, you know what I'm saying? You love how it feels and you love the fact that you are supporting something like this. I don't want people just to wear it just because that's the wave. If it ever becomes the wave, you know what I'm saying? Like people like really wear our brand and we're just starting out. But I don't want this to be off hype.
Yeah.
I want this to be off that you really share what we are doing here. You respect it, you care about it, you view it the same way that we do, and you view the world the same way that we do.
You want
And you
substance
enjoy
behind
wearing
the hype.
exactly. Yes, and you enjoy the quality of the clothes and things like that. I never want this to fall into hype because that's not why I'm doing it. That's
Mm-hmm.
not why we're doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because that whole hype beast thing, I hate. I want you to really wear this brand because you want to show to the world that this is what you're a part of. That's why when you buy something, we say, thank you for being a part of the takeoff, because that means that you're heading towards something or you're taking something off that's holding you back from being a better human being in this world. So yeah, man, like he came up with a great name, something that really means something, and from there, man, as I keep saying, we just took off and we just got some ideas. We got our logo, and we just continue to create this notion that this is going to be something that people will love to be a part of. People will love to wear, and people will love to share to people as they walk past them in the airport, the bus station, when they go out for drinks, when they go to dinner. They're going to show that they are part of the takeoff. You know what I'm saying? And we just starting. And as you know, man, you got to crawl before you can walk, and you got to walk before you can run. But this has been something also on the outset, being an African American man, saying that I own something, I'm a part of something. Cal, this could fail tomorrow, bro, but I can say to Jordan, my wife, even though she's a partner, but like, I own something. We owned something. We created
You created something. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the most even more
and
important.
Now we can figure out, yes, you know what I'm saying? We can figure out what happened, why, but at the end of the day, we gave something to the world. You know what I'm saying? We had something. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us as African American, we don't come up with this notion about
ownership,
being the owner, being the creator. We don't come up, we think about being a worker bee, you know what I'm saying? Getting a job or just fitting in. But no, man, like I own a brand. I am a part of a brand. Like that in itself to me is just like surreal. Like something I never thought I would do. The same way about playing professional basketball. I didn't think I'd be a professional. I wanted to play in the NBA, of course. Every kid playing basketball wants to play in the NBA. But I never thought it was going to happen. But it did. And it did because of hard work, sacrifice, and also being with the right people. And this is exactly what Takeoff is for me. I'm with the right people. We have the same dream, the same vision to share this to the world, that they will enjoy our product, enjoy being a part of this process as we call it Takeoff. So Yeah, man, it's just dope on all levels. You know, just owning, being able to create stuff. It's really cool, really cool.
I want to touch on, one of the dope pieces I think you guys created. Me and my wife have supported, and we when we seen the site, we definitely loved it. Love what you guys, the message behind it, but also just the creation, of the clothing. But you took you had our team become a part, of the site, and one of the pieces that you created, which the message behind it I thought was super simple, but it was so powerful. The t-shirt that, we are all black when the lights go out. So, talk about that, the t-shirt, the meaning behind the phrase in the shirt. And then, like I said, I mean, you already spoke so much about it, but specifically this, and then, talk about the reason why, you wanted to have, our team, in the picture and support, support you, this way with Takeoff Milano.
Well, I mean, there's two parts of that. I mean, the first part is just as simple as a saying.
Yeah.
If all the lights went off in the world, bro, there's no more lights. You look around, all you would see is black.
Yeah.
So or if you went blind, everybody would be black. So the only thing you would see would be black, meaning that you have to take the time to get to know that person, understand that person, see what that person is going through, things like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's where that t-shirt stemmed from, is that without color, we are all just people. You know what I'm saying? And every person deserves to be treated off of his actions, not his appearance. That's what the shirt truly means. Judge me off of what I do to you, or what I'm doing in the world, or what I did to someone else, not off of you just look at me, see that I'm a different skin color than you. Because it's not just about African Americans, it's about everyone. There should be no difference in approach. There should be no difference in thought until you see my actions, until you see what I do. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the t-shirt stemmed from. I mean, I think the message was very simple, but very, very, very powerful.
I
Because I
agree.
think it resonates in this world a lot more than what people realize. You know what I'm saying? If there was a total blackout throughout the world for the remainder of the time you were on this earth, you would have to take the time to get to know the people that you would face, interact with, have experiences with, and you would never know if they were black, white, red, orange, green, gold, whatever. Only thing you would know is that that's a person, and you're judging them off what they're saying, their opinions, their actions, and things like that. You know what I'm saying? So I thought we came up with that together, and we thought that it would resonate with our world, especially what was going on with the idea of racism in 2020. We thought it would definitely resonate, and I think it has. As far as the team, like you said, we're a melting pot. So we all share the same idea that I don't give a care that David Moretti is Italian and he's Caucasian, or Gigi is Italian and is Caucasian, or Vlado Misov is Serbian and he's Caucasian, or whatever. At the end of the day, he's a person just like I am. We are on this team, and we share the same mission, which is to compete every day, enjoy every day, sacrifice for each other, and ultimately, hopefully, we win. That was sharing this idea about we're all black when the lights go out, because at the end of the day, we share the same views, the same dreams, the same ambitions as a team. So wearing this t-shirt also showed that we share the same view about each other, that we don't care about color, race, ethnicity, none of that stuff. We just care about you being my brother, my teammate, and we headed toward the goal of winning. You know what I'm saying? On the basketball floor as well as in life. So I thought with us wearing this all together, I thought it would be a great image to not only Milan or Europe, but to the world, that there's a team out there who has showed and signified to the world that they are together as a whole, dealing with the idea of racism, that they don't see race, they don't see color, they just see the guys they compete with every day, the guys they work with every day, the guys that they share blood, sweat, and tears with every day. They don't see anything else. So I thought it would resonate well too, just seeing us in that shirt. And I thought it did. I thought a lot of people saw it, and a lot of people,
I agree.
understood the message, and a lot of people really appreciated, seeing us, wear that t-shirt all together. And I thank you guys so much for wanting to be a part of it and sharing the same idea about, a simple idea of racism, or, just being human. I really appreciate you guys being a part of the project with me and with us at Takeoff Milano.
Now, I'm gonna got 2 more questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
And let you go. I
I
know we
know,
got
man. I've been long-winded. I'm sorry,
Nah, man,
but man,
this has been all great stuff, and this is the main reason why I want to have these conversations with with great-minded people like yourself and like others to kind of give fans a different perspective and get to know us as athletes more, but also other players to get to know other players, our peers, our colleagues that that we face every day, to have the opportunity to learn more. It's like I said, we can have these conversations more. So hopefully when somebody else sees this podcast or listens to this interview or listens to this conversation, they'll come up to you and be like, yo, Jeff, I was I had the same experience and want to have this conversation with you, or
right
so
on.
this is the main reason why I'm having, I want to have these type of conversations. So I appreciate you, but I want to get two important last questions before I let you go. As an athlete, you're using your platform, whether or not it's your clothing brand or the interviews you're doing on Instagram Live, and you talked about it, you felt like you should have been doing this before. And I know there's other athletes that are probably listening to this and want to know, how can they use their platform? So what advice would you give, to them, to, how to use their platform? And the last question I have is, as I said before when I first started this, I mean, longevity is something that is very rare in sports, and especially our sport. And, for you to be a vet of 10 years, there's, many kids, and like I said, I listed off your accomplishments, you won championships and, numerous different things that wish to have your career. So if you have any advice for the young players that are listening to this, listening to this interview about, their careers and different things like that, what would your advice be?
Well, on that first question about the platform and sharing, using your image, I think at the end of the day, you'll regret it if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's what started to resonate with me in my 30s now. Is like, I'm going to look back and say, what did I share to the world about who I am
Mm-hmm.
as a man, not what I do, what I am as a basketball player. So being able to share the ideas that I have about racism, whatever they may be, I want people to know where I'm coming from, what I've experienced, what I see, and that I'm cultured, that I understand, that I empathize. Because I feel like when you don't share that stuff, people get the wrong idea about you. You know what I'm
Agreed.
saying? It's just the way the world is today because of so much going on with social media. If you don't say something, it's like, oh, well, he must not care. No, it
Yeah.
ain't that I don't care. It's just that I don't feel like everything is for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But now these situations are, because people need to know that you stand for, you know, being human and being respectful to every human being that you see and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's very powerful stuff that someone needs to see, not only from LeBron James or Cal Hines, but also from, you know, a guy just walking down the street that works
Mm-hmm.
at, you know, Carrefour. They
Yeah.
need to know that, like, where you stand on social issues that's going on in the world, because it also signifies that you have the right thought process. You're a good person. You care about the world. You care about people. Now, is it for everybody to go on Instagram and do, IG lives and stuff like that? No, it's not, because everybody's not as outgoing. Not everybody is as articulate as everybody else. But at the end of the day, if you can share it to people that you meet, people that you share a common, background with, you guys can start a conversation. That in itself is enough,
Mm-hmm.
because once again, it all leaks. All these things leak out to other people. Well, so and so said, this was going on, and it shouldn't be this way because he shared this stint of history that was going on and what they did this time, things like that. You sharing your thoughts, the things that it will only be passed to other people. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, it's an information highway, just like, the internet, the word of mouth. You know what I'm saying? So I think the more and more that people go out here and show themselves on, if it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it may be, you don't have to go out and be the most outspoken person ever,
Mm-hmm.
but you can share your thoughts, share your opinion, and it can be in, what is it, like 80 characters on Twitter or whatever,
Yeah,
the limit, you can
160
share
or
that.
something like that.
Okay, but
Yeah,
double. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
So you can get double in. Exactly. You can go out there and share what you think about what's going on, a movement, anything. And I'm telling you, people will appreciate it. People will respect you. And even if you get backlash, that's your opportunity to share your opinion, really break it down, really elaborate, and maybe you'll help somebody, you know what I'm saying, in a way that they think. Now, as far as longevity, honestly, Cal, there's only one word that resonates for me
Mhm.
that I use every time I talk to somebody young that's thinking about coming overseas, especially overseas, because you know how much of a grind it is
Yeah.
over here, being here for 10 months, being away from what you know, your family, your friends, blah, blah, blah.
The word is adapt. And what I mean by that is adapting to, your new surroundings, a new culture, your new teammates, new languages, new team dynamics, just everything, because you don't know the situation off rip what you're going into. But if you're able to adapt, that's the only way you would be able to make any situation you go into a successful one for yourself personally. You know what I'm saying? You may go to a team that doesn't do well, but if you go there, show yourself as not only as a player, but a person who cares about the team, who cares about winning, who cares about keeping everybody together in those tough times, I'm telling you, there will always be opportunities to play for a team, you know what I'm saying, throughout Europe, anywhere, because they look for players like that. See, like I'm going on personal experience. I've been on teams where small market teams where like I was one of the most talented guys. So, I got the ball a lot. I made all the plays for the team, blah, blah. But then I've been on bigger teams where, I was more of a cog to the machine. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I've always been able to adapt to what the team needs. If I know the team has 4 great offensive players, then hell, what does the team need for me to do to help them go out and win? So if that means I need to go and get 10 rebounds, score 4 points, we win the game by 10 points.
Did your job.
I did my part, and
Yeah.
I stopped my guy from scoring. My guy's been scoring 15. I held my guy to 6 points tonight. We won by 10. That was my job, and my job to help us win tonight. If you can adapt, and it doesn't matter about stats and all that stuff, you can always find a job here. You can always find a place to play. And I think that's my biggest key to what my career has led me into. I've just always been able to adapt.
That's love, bro, man. I thank you for taking the time, for the opportunity, man. We definitely got a great conversation, a lot of gems. For people that want to follow you on Instagram, your Instagram, correct me if I'm wrong, it's at KingFree32.
Yes.
So they want to get, learn more about you, learn more about the conversations. As well, tell all the listeners out there to check out Take Off Milano. It's www.takeoffmilano.com if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And you also have an Instagram page as well. And I mean, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you for taking the time out, on a busy night, to have this conversation and to share your thoughts, your opinions, your experiences, with all of us, man. It's been a blessing. It's been a blessing. I've learned a lot.
No, Cal, I really appreciate
you,
it too, bro. And that is King_Free32.
Yes.
Cal doesn't follow me. That's why he doesn't know.
Nah, man, I follow you, bro.
He needs to go and follow me right now.
I follow you, bro.
That's
I follow
why.
you, bro. I forget the underscore, man. I'm not an underscore guy, man.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I be forgetting too sometimes. But no, man, this has been great. It's actually been fun too, being able to share, our thoughts, our perspectives. And I will see you bright and early in the morning, bro.
Definitely, bro. I appreciate you, man.